Anakin's character is so conflicting because there's so many viewpoints you can kind of go back and forth with.
He also didn't trust and tell Padme about this relationship with the senator, with Palpatine. Like, why didn't you tell the person?
He was lying to literally everyone.
Lying to everyone, and he was lying to himself.
Welcome to the Point of View podcast. My name's Yosa.
And my name's Osatohamen.
And here we are today for another episode.
Yep, we're super excited to be here once again.
Yep, so today we are talking about a movie. So this one is, again, pretty popular. It's a really good movie. It's a pretty big series, but we're talking about specifically one movie in the series. It's called Revenge of the Sith. And for those of you that don't know, this is a part of the very big and vast Star Wars universe, multiverse, because there's a lot of shows, a lot of movies, a lot of this and that. So it gets a little confusing, but...
No, it does. Like, I don't know what I was looking on, but it was like the best way to watch. I saw the video, best way to watch the Star Wars like saga, and like it was like 20 things. I was like, oh my gosh,
I'm not even done with it yet. I've watched like the new Acolyte show and a few things here and there. I'm watching like Clone Wars. I'm like, some of these shows have like 5 seasons and like 20 episodes in each, and I'm like, and then there's still like 4 movies I haven't even touched. So it's like it's tricky. But we're just talking about Revenge of the Sith, which I want to say it's my favorite movie, but it hurts too much.
I really, really love the last 2 movies. Like
the new ones?
No.
I was supposed to be like...
No, like Revenge of the Sith and then the one before it. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you meant... You're talking about release order.
Release order, yeah.
Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. But no, yeah, I think I'm definitely like a first 3 movie kind of person, I think. For me, or for Star Wars, I'm like... Because I feel like we watched all the movies growing up, but I don't know, something just clicked with me in the first movies. But I love 4, 5, and 6. I even like 7, 8, and 9 too. Force Awakens is actually pretty good.
Force Awakens is good. I remember when it came out, like I watched it. It was good. It was 8.
The other 2,
I don't even remember their names because 8 was 9 was I didn't even watch.
It was like, oh,
it was horrible.
Isn't it Skywalker Horizon is the last one, I think, something, because like Rey becomes a Skywalker.
Yeah.
Something crazy.
No, when you were talking about us growing up, so funny story about us, we didn't watch Star Wars for the longest time, like us as kids growing up.
Really?
Because you don't remember? Oh, you were really young.
Because we were scared of something again.
Yes, we were so scared. Like we weren't scared. We thought it was gross. Like we saw all these like alien looking like weird headed things, and we were like, some creatures, and we were like, this is so gross. Who wants to watch this? And so we were so picky back then, so we didn't watch it for years. And it wasn't until we went to a family friend's lake house one summer, and they had Star Wars. They had like a downstairs theater. They had like all the Star Wars movies. So he was like, "Oh, do you want to watch?" Like the grandpa was like, "Do you want to watch Star Wars?" And we're like, okay. Like, I mean, what are you gonna say? No, it's someone else's house. No, I don't want to watch that. So we watched it, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good." And so we went home and we watched the whole series, and like our family literally became. Well, I'll say it. The siblings, the kids, we became obsessed. Our
parents
with Star Wars.
Just watch whatever we watch.
Yeah.
So. But
they're more into like action and like James Bond.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess we can jump into a little summary of the movie.
Yeah, so like we said, it's called Revenge of the Sith, and what is happening right now is that this is like the last kind of so 1, 2, 3 is like it's really confusing if you've ever watched it. 1, 2, 3 is like the prequel of 4, 5, 6. Mm-hmm. So 4, 5, 6 is like people's kids, and like all the people in 1, 2, 3 are like older. It's like very, very confusing if you don't really understand the Star Wars.
Yeah, because 4, 5, and 6 came out in like the 1970s and 80s, and then 1, 2, and 3 came out in like 2000. So what is happening in this movie is Anakin Skywalker is
who they believe is this, almost this chosen one, is like the prophesied one. And there's a lot of political, I don't want to go too in depth about what's going on, but there's a lot of political things happening. And he is in this secret relationship with this woman named Padme. And she is also this political, well, she used to be
She's a senator.
Yeah, she used to be like the queen, but then she like got like released. And then she's now, like you said, a senator. And they're not supposed to be in a relationship with each other, but they are. And Anakin has this like I would say PTSD and this trauma from his own mother who got killed. I guess it was movie 1, right?
No, but she died in movie 2, but like, he left her in like movie 1.
So she had been killed earlier, and this was a very traumatic event for him, and like this was such a loss for him, and the way she died was pretty gruesome too. And he's always had these like dreams that like kind of prophesy things, and most of the times when he has these dreams, like they become reality. And so he started getting these dreams about this girl that he, they secretly got married in the second movie. At the end of the second movie, this girl named Padme, she is going to die during childbirth. She was pregnant with their children. And so he's like freaking out. He's like, no, I've already lost my mother. I cannot lose the woman I love. I cannot, like, Loki didn't care about his children. He was just like, I cannot lose the woman I love. And so he is like, internally trying to figure out how to solve this issue. Like, how can I do that? He wasn't really telling anyone about it. And we're going to go more in depth about like this whole process. But there is this guy named Palpatine, and long story short, he's an evil guy, and through his powers, he was able to like know that this is what Anakin's going through. And he tricks Anakin into trying to become this dark force, become this evil guy to save his wife. And when you switch over to the dark side, the emotions and all the feelings that you usually feel, they start to disappear. And so it was a lot of betrayal, a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of miscommunications, but it's such a good movie. I don't want to go too in depth about it, because we're going to talk about it more of like kind of analyzing Anakin's feelings and Padme and all these other like great characters. But if you've never watched it, they had the 20th anniversary back in April. We went into theaters and watched it. Super good.
So good.
But it's on Disney Plus. Go watch it. It's such a good movie.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I guess I can start a little bit kind of balancing off what you're saying. Is so part of the reason why Anakin, basically he is the main character, why he and this Padme, the senator, can't be together, is because Jedi have this strict set of rules. They're basically these like warrior knights that protect the galaxy, and so they can't form attachments. They can't love, because all these feelings and emotions can cloud their judgment, and it can stop them from doing their duty, which is literally to be a soldier, to be a knight that protects the galaxy, and that's it. And so an interesting part of this movie is Anakin, like you said, does every single thing he possibly can to save Padme, even if that means becoming something he thought he was fighting against, becoming a dark lord that he was trying so hard to not become. And so I think the tragedy of this movie is because, spoiler if you haven't watched it, she does die in the end anyway. She dies giving childbirth like he dreamed of. The kids end up surviving, but she dies. So the one woman that he wanted to save dies, and it's actually because he kills her. And so
remember they said it in the movie, it wasn't that he killed her. She shouldn't even die from childbirth. It's really interesting because, like Yosa was saying, he chose to go onto the dark side to save her. He didn't save her. That breaks her heart so much. And so she actually dies from heartbreak. Because if you remember in the movie, like, this is a big spoiler, but you know what? This movie's been out for so many years.
It's been out for like 24 years.
Yeah. So what happens is that she is so heartbroken that she cannot and this happens in real life too. Like, I've heard of so many stories of like older people, they die from heartbreak. Like their wife or husband dies, and like a week later they die, and it's nothing. It wasn't like anything they did. It wasn't sickness. It wasn't anything. They just died from heartbreak. And so it was interesting that he was having all these prophecy dreams, and he was seeing this childbirth death, but it didn't even tell him that it was going to be him.
He was
his betrayal.
Cause, basically.
Yeah, he was the cause.
There's also a scene where again, because he's been clouded by this dark side. I'm sure even if you haven't watched the movie, you've heard of the dark side. Darth Sidious, like all these
the
characters.
Red lightsaber.
Yeah. And like he's been clouded by this dark side. So in this one scene, Padme comes to him and she's like, I heard that you've been killing younglings and you've turned to this dark side and you've joined the Sith that we're trying to fight. And he goes like, you're against me, like you've turned against me. And so he starts like choking her with like their force powers or whatever. And she just like drops to the floor because like Obi-Wan shows up. But like that's
Bro,
a whole...
Obi-Wan's... I saw a TikTok, and in the movie I'm like, what is this? He like, okay, let me see if I can do it. Kind of stands like,
you have done that yourself.
So for people listening, we had our hands on our like hips, and you kind of just like standing.
The Obi-Wan pose.
It's not funny, but it is funny.
It's bad, but just like it shows that like I'm bringing in Hunger Games, but like Snow said in Hunger Games, it's the things we love most that destroy us in a way. And not that I think you shouldn't love anyone. The Jedi way, like there are faults in it, but I think kind of the basis of like their argument almost is like, don't let your love and like don't let that consume you. Don't let that stop you from seeing everything else, because at the end of the day, like you said, it was almost his fault that she died. It was his actions that led her to this heartbreak, because he became someone that she never thought he would be. And so if he had not been clouded by this drive to save her, to find anything, to turn into anyone he could possibly be, then the outcome never would have even happened. If he had learned to let go, that maybe she would have even lived. So
yeah, no, what came to my mind as you were talking was that we have like, we have the Jedis and we have the dark side, and it's almost like they're complete like polar opposites. Like one is this extreme almost detachment from physical and mortality and everything, and then the other is like so ingrained in the things of man and the things of people, and so it's almost become like this poison to them. But both of them, I think, are the problem. And I mean, obviously like the dark side is really bad because they're killing people, they're hurting people, and one side's not. But I think that one thing that needed to happen, and I think this is kind of going into the lore and like and analyzing it, but I think that there needed to be balance. And I think that what people didn't realize about Anakin was that he was going to be the balance, and realizing that the dark side was too extreme and the Jedis were too extreme. They needed to be more in the center. Now Anakin also went to the dark side, so like
he kind of disrupted
the balance.
He came back though. He came.
Yes.
Took a while. It took like 30 years.
But like I think that is like so reflected into our life. Like you shouldn't be, like you were talking about love, you shouldn't be so consumed and ingrained in love and all these emotions and like people and friendships and all of that, because that is too unhealthy. But then you shouldn't completely detach yourself from the world and from people and from happiness and from love. And so I think a balance is something that we should all be striving for. And I think that in this movie, that's kind of like what I really got from it, that there wasn't balance, and balance is necessary in order for a civilization and for life to progress.
And the funny thing is, the Jedis preached about balance, but at the end of the day, they were part, again, there's like politics that we won't get into, but they were part of some of the reasons that there wasn't balance in the galaxy. So
yeah. And I mean, they had the best intentions. You remember what they said? They were like, once all this is over, we're going to step away from politics. And I saw that as respectful. I think that they were human beings at the end of the day, and well, I guess some of them weren't human.
Well, I guess the midi-chlorians.
They were
them like
creatures at the end of the day, regular creatures, not gods. And so I think that
midi-chlorians. I don't even know what that is.
Whatever, but I think at the end of the day, They had the best intentions, but sometimes you need a little external force to push you to the right way.
That's perfectly said.
So this is kind of along what you were saying, but like love as this driving force, and like how two extreme emotions of love and fear can drive you towards obsession. Like this whole time, the whole movie was basically Anakin's fear. Because that's really what it was. I don't know. Like, he loved Padme so much, of course. But I don't think it was the love that drove him to where it was. It was the fear. Because as Yosa kind of said, quoting Padme, he, in order to become this Dark Lord, in order to truly switch to the dark side, he had to basically kill the other Jedi. And in the Jedi community, they are raising young children. And so he, as this Dark Lord, this dark side person, went and killed the other children.
These are like
6-year-olds. Like, he just went and destroyed them. And so, like, that to me is not love. That is not, because no one that loves someone like that would ever do that to another person, would ever kill another child, would ever kill another human being unless they have to. He didn't have to do that. And so I think that when we fear so much of the unknown, or when we have, I guess, too little information, that it turns this fear into obsession, that can really cause problems. And so I think that, like we're saying, there needs to be a balance in all things. And then we also need to not live life in fear, because when you live life in fear, you make bad decisions. And we saw that with Anakin.
Because honestly, he drove himself to someone that Padme couldn't even love. Because one of the first things, like when the Sith Lord was like, okay, you're now named Darth Vader. In case you guys didn't know, Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader. He's like, you're now Darth Vader. Your first assignment is to kill, like, go to the Jedi Temple and kill all the Jedi Knights there. And it should have been then and there that he was like, okay, well, I'm trying to save Padme, because he's all like, well, if you do this, then I'll give you this great power. But it's like, that should have been like the little click in your head, like, all right, am I willing to take this step to save one person versus like killing hundreds? And so I think that was just like that balance he was lacking, because at the end of the day, yes, it was his fear and his love that drove him to do that, but at the end of the day, a part of him wanted to join the dark side. There were so many other factors in the movie that we'll get into that ended up driving him to become Darth Vader.
Yeah, no, I mean, Anakin's really sad. And I think another thing tragic is that, because he knew he was the chosen one, right?
Yes.
I think that, I don't know if he should have been told about that.
I don't think he was told in the first movie. I don't think he knew, but I believe by the third he did. I don't know when they told him. I think, but I know he was like aware that like he was like special. And
so I think that was, I think, the cause of him thinking he's this great person. He deserves this. Yeah. Like earlier in the movie, before he switched, Palpatine is, trying to grab him and like put his claws in his in his back, and like trying to trick him and brainwash him into thinking, like, because he basically he ends up being on the Jedi Council based on Palpatine's what's the word? Vote?
Oh, Palpatine's like,
what's that word?
He was like Palpatine's like almost
influence?
Like apprentice.
Yeah.
Like he was working with Palpatine, like one of the senators, and so that justified him being on the council as like a stand-in for him, if you understand what I'm saying.
And so like he had this whole thing where he had to be greater, he has to be equal to all these these Jedi that have been there so many years older
20 years older than you.
And I'm just like, why would you think that there was a lot of pride, I think, in Anakin, and that what happens after pride?
There's a fall.
The fall. And unfortunately, his fall hurt so many people. It completely changed the way that that universe ended up being.
It literally turned around. Like, afterwards, because I say the movies came before, literally the Jedis were in hiding, Jedi Knights were in hiding, the Sith and the dark side were literally controlling the galaxy. And I think something that, like, Anakin's character is so conflicting because there's so many viewpoints you can kind of go back and forth with. But I think, and it really hurts, but at the end of the day, him and Obi-Wan's relationship, their heartbreak, their relationship ending hurt almost a little bit more than Padme's as well, because I think Obi-Wan basically almost raised him. I mean, when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn, his master in the first movie, had gone to Anakin's planet, they got him, found out he had the midichlorian count that was insane, greater than Master Yoda and all these other great people. They knew, like, this kid is special, he might be something. So they brought him back, they trained him. Qui-Gon Jinn died, and then Obi-Wan became his master, raised him for 10 to 12 whatever years. And so I think a problem with this movie is, like you're saying, Anakin said multiple times to Padme, Obi-Wan doesn't understand me. He doesn't know how powerful I am. He doesn't know that I'm a greater Jedi than he will ever be. Like, he says that. But then other times he says, but he's like a father to me. He's my best friend. He's a brother. Like, he's everything I ever could have, like, looked up to. So it's like that conflict in him. And I think a misunderstanding in the movie is if he had told Obi-Wan, or if Obi-Wan had tried to display to him, because Obi-Wan actually did say that you're a greater Jedi than I could have ever hoped to be. And even to Anakin, that wasn't enough. He still needed that Jedi Master title. He needed something to prove.
Needed a title, like...
Yeah, a title when you are literally the chosen one.
Yes.
You're literally more powerful than every single person in that room, and you needed a title? Like, a title to be like, yeah, I'm better. And so I think if there had been emotions conveyed, and we see that in the real world when there's miscommunications, things never happen the way they're supposed to. I think the secrets with him being married to Padme and all of these things that he could have told a master and a friend at the end of the day that drove him to the dark side. I don't think
Obi-Wan would have done anything if he told him the truth.
No, I think Obi-Wan, like, his character's also a little conflicting because he isn't necessarily 100% with the Jedi ways too.
No, he wasn't.
So I think he would have been a little more understanding to the situation.
And he would have helped. Like,
exactly.
I think that's something Anakin forgot. He forgot that he had people that truly loved him so much because, you're saying he didn't trust and tell Obi-Wan anything. He also didn't trust and tell Padme about this relationship with the Senator, with Palpatine. Like, why didn't you tell the person?
He was lying to literally everyone.
Lying to everyone, and he was lying to himself.
Yeah, he kept saying that everything's going to be better. This is going to save Padme. I have to keep this secret. I have to be better. At the end of the day, it was like, when you look back on all those scenes, you're like, was it really, though? Like, because you were lying to everyone else. You were lying to yourself. And at the end of the day, nothing worked out the way you wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
we don't all blame Anakin. Palpatine was an amazing manipulator. Like, the scene that comes into my mind is when, oh my gosh, the black guy.
Mace Windu.
Yes, when he comes and he finds out that this Palpatine is actually, like,
the Sith
Lord, and he had betrayed them, infiltrated them like crazy, right? He comes and he starts attacking him, and then Palpatine uses his lightning, and he kind of like is like making it seem like he's losing. Yeah, he's deforming himself. Anakin walks in and sees his mentor, this person that has promised that he's gonna save his wife, and the Jedi that's supposed to be this good person, he's like, why are you killing him? And so, like, Palpatine, you see him laughing afterwards because he knows that his manipulation has worked. And so I don't all blame Anakin. He was tricked by this man that is a lot older than him, a lot wiser in the sense that, wiser in a bad sense, obviously.
Wiser in a bad way.
And so it's like, I don't all blame Anakin. I think that there was a lot of external factors that, produced what he became. But kind of going back onto, like, Obi-Wan, like, I think the most, like, heart-wrenching, like, quote was when Obi-Wan said, "You were my brother, Anakin."
You were meant to destroy the Sith, not join them.
Oh, like, oh my gosh.
I
like
know that scene like the back of my hand.
Like the heartstrings, the heartstrings. It's just like,
gosh. And then that's like Anakin's crawling in the planet, and he's just like burned alive. And he's like, I hate you.
And he's like the tears. It's just like the heartbreak of both of these brothers. Like they were brothers, they were father and son, they were best friends. They were just, their relationship was so complex and so beautiful. And because of the manipulation of an evil man, and because of the lies and the pride and all of this was the result. There was death, there was hurt, there was sadness. And so I think that a lesson for all of us is that we need to make sure, I think it's just honesty. I think that if he was honest from the start, I think that if he told Obi-Wan, I don't know if he told like Yoda and all the other people if they would have helped. They're kind of like, oh,
Yoda maybe.
Yoda would have been like about Padme. It's meant to be like,
yeah.
He would have said it in his Yoda way or whatever.
If thou knowest, then she shall die meant to be.
And so I don't know if they would have helped necessarily, because like we were saying, they're so on the side of being detached. But if he had just been honest with the people that truly loved him, that loved him like family, that were his family, I truly in my heart do not believe that what would have happened would have happened.
There would have been a completely different outcome. That's what we believe at least. But
I mean, I'm sure some of the Star Wars critics have like dissected the movie by frame, and would have been like, actually, because of this right there in frame 220, they wouldn't have.
I almost became one of those people. I'm gonna be honest, I know so many of the lines of that. I've rewatched like those movies so many times. It's bad, but
I mean, they're good.
They're good. They rewatch them for a reason. But kind of something I want to talk about is specifically the fall of Anakin. Like I said before, we get deeper into this, is we see there's so many factors that lead to this push to the dark side, right? Like the scene at the planet, I can't remember, the planet with like lava, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
I should know what it's called, but that lava planet where he kills like the viceroy, like those little alien things in like the control room, because like the Sith like betrays them, because they're supposed to be on their side. The Sith betrays them to have nothing connect back to them, and Anakin turns and his eyes are yellow, which is like a sign of like the dark side is taking over like your soul and your midichlorians, whatever. But I think like there were so many, because he'd already killed the younglings, he'd already killed other Jedis before that, he already lied to so many other people. So it was like, why was it that specific scene? Why was it those specific scenes that led to that? And I think that shows like trauma and pressure to do things that you don't want to do lead you to become someone you don't even recognize anymore. I think a lot, like, trauma is terrible. It can destroy people. And like you said, the trauma was with his mother. Honestly, if his mother hadn't have died, or if he hadn't seen his mother die in a vision, maybe he would have taken different course of actions to save Padme, or maybe he wouldn't have even done anything, but he didn't know, and there was this trauma and this like former pain that's all he could think about. He's like, you can't die, you can't die, you can't die.
Do you think he would have been the Jedi that he was up to the point where he betrayed everyone if his mother didn't die?
Honestly, I think he had greater potential. I think he could have been a really good Jedi, but I think at the end of the day, like you said, there had to be balance. I think something would have happened in its place, because we can say it now. At the end of the day, we knew that Anakin Skywalker had to go to the dark side for then Luke Skywalker to come and restart the cycle and to bring Jedi, Return of the Jedi, the 6th movie. But I think even if his mom had died, or even if Padme hadn't died, something would have happened to bring balance to the Force, because that was what his role was. It didn't say specifically how he was going to save the Jedi or destroy the Sith, but it said he was going to bring balance, which is 30 years later, he did after a really long time. So I think that's an important thing to realize. It's like things happen for a reason, and there's trauma, there's pain, and there's so many things that happen with it. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to say you're one set path and done, but I'm saying there are a way things are meant to play out that cause an outcome probably greater than we can even comprehend.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And I think that there was this internal war, this internal like fear and grief, and obviously the manipulation that was happening from Palpatine. Like, there was just so many, like, I love this movie because
so good.
It has everything. Like, if you know, or you probably don't know, because, like, you know, we're two random girls, but we love romance. Like, we love romance books, we love romance stories. But for me, like, I actually don't, my favorite romance stories are not just romance. Like, if I'm just reading and all that's happening is like romance between the two characters and nothing else, I'm like, this book sucks.
Yeah, no, like, get a life.
Exactly. But my favorite genres and my favorite books are ones that mix adventure and action and mystery, and then there's the romance aspect of it. And so I think that this movie literally has everything.
Oh yeah,
literally. And so I think that back to Anakin, like, there was just so much happening in this movie, so much happening to him, that it's so interesting to like be able to like analyze him and think about him. I'm like, Anakin was meant to be this great Jedi, or maybe not meant to be, but he was. It seemed to be
his role was to be something that would bring this great balance that everyone had dreamed and hoped for.
And the balance that people, it's interesting. I think the balance that the Jedis had seen, they didn't realize that the balance for them was also cutting them down too.
Yeah, because the dark side thought balance was getting rid of the Jedis, and the Jedis thought balance was getting rid of the Sith. So
yes,
like
they didn't realize that both of them, balance was getting rid of most of them. Yeah,
both of you needed to be gone.
Exactly. And so I think that it's so interesting to see this like internal warfare that was happening within Anakin, because I think like a lot of time in most of the movie, you're seeing him just like looking out and just like after a dream, just staring
into like the horizon.
Yes, and just like so much emotion and so much,
strife,
grief, and pain.
Internal war.
And so I if we were in the place of Anakin, we talk about him like, from this, hindsight perspective, and we're like thinking about him like, would we have done this? Like, oh, would we have fallen Palpatine? But I think the truth is most of us would have wanted to save the person we loved.
Palpatine was good at what he did.
He was
the Sith Lord for a reason.
Exactly. And would we have fallen to those manipulations? Probably so. But I also do think, like we're saying, if we are honest with people around us, if Anakin was more honest with the people around him, I don't know, maybe he still would have followed Palpatine, but I don't think he would have been a puppet, because that's what he basically became. He became a puppet. Now, he could have achieved balance in a way that still would have hurt people, but I think that he wouldn't have been a puppet, and he wouldn't have maybe killed the children.
Like, the dark side, or the Sith, would have been something different, because we haven't seen the later movies 4, 5, and 6. When Luke comes along, Palpatine does the same thing. He says, you can kill your father and take his place, showing that he never actually cared about Anakin. Yeah. He cared about the power that he brought him. Yeah. And he's like, well, if someone can take your place, and that's great with me. And so it shows that, like, Palpatine at the end of the day didn't care about Anakin. And I think that's what drove Anakin. And then Anakin, I think, realized in that scene where Palpatine goes like, oh, in your anger you killed Padme. I think that's where he's like, he's almost in despair. Like, that cry is like, oh my goodness, what have I done? I did all of this and she died, and now I'm stuck, and I like, where can I go? I can't go back to the Jedis. Like, he thinks Obi-Wan is dead and everyone he knows and loves, so he sticks to the dark side because he literally has nowhere else to go.
The loneliness brings him in. Yeah. No, I mean, there's like, I love Anakin. Like, I think, Hayden Christensen.
Still to this day, like, I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Like, at the 20th, was it 20th or 25th? I can't even remember what it was.
I think it was 20th, because I was wrong. This movie actually came out in 2005.
Okay, yeah. So I was like 20. I thought it was 20th anniversary.
The first movie came out in 1999. The second movie came out in 2002.
Okay, yeah. So it was the 20th anniversary. We went into theaters, and like Hayden was like, he had this whole scene, and like in the beginning, and, like I remember on TikTok and like Reels, everyone was like screaming, obsessed.
Feral. He's like, you get to see me and Ewan battle it out on the big screen. I'm like, yes. Like, low-key, that theater was kind of full. We went at like midnight.
Yeah, we went like a week. Like it came out, I think, on Friday the week before we went, and we went on like Wednesday. So it had been a couple days, and the theater was still like pretty full. I was like, okay,
crazy.
People really love Star Wars.
I mean, me too. Like, but I mean, yeah, that's kind of all we have for today. Anakin Skywalker is a character. I could go on for hours talking about the Star Wars series, but I won't for people's sake.
No.
But
maybe if you guys like this enough, we'll talk more about other movies.
Hey, maybe we'll do A New Hope or different Return of the Jedi. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching this video. This really is. It is my favorite movie. At least I love Star Wars.
Something got in my eye.
Oh. It's the tears of Anakin. Anakin, why did you have to die? But
ignore me, guys.
But thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't. Turn on push notifications so you get notifications every time we upload a video. Make sure to follow us on all social media platforms and give us a 5-star review and wherever you're listening to this to, and give us a good comment on any social media or even on this YouTube video. We love to chat. So we'll see you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.